Hiya, right, so in this video we are going to look at how to do some paper cutting fish using different objects that you've got at home. So if you're making along, then the tools you're going to need to make it are, I've got a pair of scissors to cut the paper with, I've got a Pritt stick. If you did the paper weaving video, then you might have some paper offcuts left over from that, so you can use those. Or you can use old magazine papers, you could use the envelopes and letters you've received, you can use the wrapping paper from presents. So you can really kind of use what you've got around at home. And you also want to use a felt tip pen, which we'll use for drawing the fish out. So I'll move this out of the way. We're going to turn the paper so it's portrait, and that means you've got the shortest edge of the paper at the top and the bottom, and the longest edge of the paper on the left and the right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw, I'll move this up a little bit, so we are going to draw a balloon, the top of a balloon. So you're going to go round here and come back, not exactly to where you started, you kind of want it around about 3 finger widths apart, and then you're going to draw the fish's tail. So you can either draw a single tail like that. I'm going to do it with 2 triangles. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to come back to this point here, and I'm going to repeat it on this side as well. So I'm going to come out and then I'm going to go back to meet that line that I just drew, and then when you turn it, you've got your fish, so you're ready to start making the scales. So if you did the paper weaving video, then you might have some paper scraps left over. So I'm going to start by showing you how to do the scales with these. So you can either do some curvy scales, so I'll lift this up here, and to do the curvy scales you're literally going to cut a big round shape, see there, and that's going to be your scales. And you can just repeat that by going through kind of all your paper scraps and making sure you've got a flat bottom on one end and you've gone and created a curve the other. And I've kind of done it around about a thumb's width because that was the size of the paper, but you can make it as big as you want. And keep these if they're like this, because there's another plan, there's a new video coming up which will show you what to do with them. So you can either keep the scales like that and kind of use up all your scraps, or if you wanted to, you can just cut them any which way, and we're going to create a whole collage that way. If you're using magazine paper, then, let me find the one I'm looking for, like this, then the way I would do it is I would cut it into a rough strip. Again, you can see I wasn't too precise, I didn't use a ruler, and then I'm just going to cut these shapes, and you can see these are going to be much bigger because I'm doing it from a much bigger size sheet of paper. And I'm not worrying too much about how precise the curves are, whether they're all matching or how even they are. I'm just enjoying cutting out the colours that I like, the shapes that I like. It might be designs or patterns that you like. And you can get lots of different people to do this, and then you can create like a whole sea of fish, each made by a different person that you know. So I'm going to keep cutting out till I've got enough to do this. I'll cut this one out as well, and then we'll start sticking. And actually, if anything, it really helps to have a range of different sizes, because then it just gives the fish that little bit more movement. So I might cut out a few more of these. So again, I'm just using what I've got around me, so I'm not buying special paper, and I'm just making it as a collage. Okay, so once you've cut out enough scales, or enough scales that you kind of want to start sticking, this is when you can get making. So I'm going to wind the stick up a little bit, and again you've got what I would call the right side, because this is the side with the pattern on, the side that I like, and you've got the wrong side, which would be the side that I don't really want showing on the fish. So I'm going to put the glue onto the wrong side, so I'll move this up here so you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm not putting too much on, so I'm just giving it a light coating of glue all the way over that scale, and then I'm going to move the fish down and then just going to stick it on. And you don't want to go too close up to here because we're going to draw a mouth on it to finish with. So leave that there. And again, just check which side it is that you want showing on your fish, and put a bit of glue on, and then you're going to put the second one on. And when you attach your second one, you want to overlap it ever so slightly. So see if I can move that up there. So you're just placing it over the other one slightly, and then push it down. They're roughly, these curves, they're all going to create a line over here. So I'm going to keep going, see which one. Right, and you just keep building it up. And there's a really famous artist called Matisse, and he did a lot of paper cutting art. So you can, if you want to have a look at his work and see what he's done as well, this is absolutely going to be your piece of work, because you're using papers that you've chosen and designs that you've chosen. They might be colours that you like, or they might be papers that represent something, whether it's a birthday or, you know, a magazine that you got. Okay, so you've done your first line, scales on the fish. You're going to keep going. You're now going to build your second row, and we're going to do it in exactly the same way as we did before. So you're going to choose the piece of paper you want to do the next scale. You're going to put a bit of glue onto the back, onto the wrong side of it. Move this down so you can see it, and then we're just going to start the second row. And again, you want to overlap these, and because if I put this on here, can you see it's going slightly out over the fish? So I'm just going to turn it ever so slightly, this first one, so it's going right up to the edge, but it's not going over the edge. And then when it comes to sticking the next scale down on that second row, I'm then going to go back to doing it in exactly the same way that we did the first row. So I'm not going to do it at an angle. I'm just going to put a bit of glue on, and I'm just going to stick it on exactly as if I was doing the second row, so it's overlapping. I'm going to keep working my way across, and you're basically just going to repeat this until you've finished your fish. Let me stick this on. So I'll do one more to show you how to do it on this bit here. And again, because I've reached the edge of it, I'm going to have to angle it ever so slightly just so it doesn't go over. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue onto the wrong side, the side that I don't want showing. And I'm just going to angle it slightly again so it's staying within the lines of the fish, but it's still creating that. And you're just going to keep going with this. And once you've filled it up as much as you can, leaving a gap here because we're going to draw a little smiley face, you might have a few little gaps like here and here that you want to fill. So you can then just cut a little bit out, kind of rough size that you want to fill that gap. So I'm just going to do quite a smaller one here because I want to fill this gap. I'm just going to pop a bit of glue on, so that you're really kind of in an ongoing basis with this, because you want to kind of build it up and kind of create the look that you want it to be. And then that is the curved scales on your fish. Now if you remember at the start of the video, we looked at the other way of cutting, which was, whereas this one we had, let's see if I can do it on here, so we had the flat bottom of the piece of paper, and say like here, and then we cut into it and did a curve round, and then I'm just going to join back to make that flat bottom. So that first fish we made flat bottom, curved top, but we also, I really quickly said that you could kind of just cut into the paper any way you want, and then this is going to create a collaged effect. So again, you've got that same fish drawing that we did where you turn it portrait, do the bubble and the two triangles, and in the same way that we stuck it on before, you're just going to do it exactly the same with this. So you choose which is the side of the paper that you want. Add a bit of glue to the back. Again, you don't want to put too much onto it. And then you're just going to stick it down any which way. So this is very much, it's called an improv way of doing it. So you're kind of working kind of however the mood takes you. So I'm going to put that one across there. And both are really fun ways to do. So you could do one of each and kind of see which one you like more, see which one here. And so you want to overlap them as much as you can, just because then it kind of creates that 3D effect to your fish. And then if you want to cut some more bits out, so I want a bit of a stronger colour here, so I'm going to, so I'm not measuring, I'm just cutting it any way you want. Obviously be careful your fingers, because you don't want to cut your fingers. That's why I use a paper scissors, which are a little bit blunt, and they've also got a round edge, so they're nice and safe to use. So just drop the glue stick off the edge. So you're just going to keep building this effect up here. So you keep building it up until you've covered all of this, and to be honest, you could keep going and completely do the tail as well. And then obviously the fish needs a face, so I'm just going to use a black felt tip pen. I'm just going to draw a little eye here and then a smile coming out there. I'm going to do the same on this one, draw a round dot and then a smiley face on it. And then you can cut out along this line. So put the lid back on, pretty stiff if you used it, because that just makes sure it doesn't dry out. And then what you're going to do is you're then going to cut, you can either leave it as a whole piece of paper or you can cut out. So because I've used a felt tip pen, I'm actually going to cut out just inside the line so that the felt tip pen doesn't show up on the finished piece. And then you're going to cut and curve it round and cut out this balloon shape that we drew at the start. And cut all the way around, so you're creating your very own collage rainbow fish. It's a really fun way of using up, you know, different bits around the house. It might be that you've got little bits of fabric or ribbon and you could use those on it as well. You could use anything really. If you can put a prick stick to it and it's not something that's precious, then you can have a go. So I'm just going to cut that bit off. And then cut this tail out, the pointed tail that we gave it. So you want to be careful not to rip it here. And there you go. And then once you've cut it out, you can do the same with your other fish if you did that one as well. And you can start to create your own sea collage. You could do it on a big blue piece of paper, or you could sellotape a little bit of string to the back, so you've created a loop over here and put a string there, and then you can hang it in the window. You could turn it into a card and you can write on it. So there's lots of options, but it's just a really fun way to play with cutting and creating shapes and picking out the colours and the textures and the designs you like. So let me know what you think and let me know what you make, and I'll see you soon for the next video. Bye.